To Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, entitled Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as specified in the Act in the following manner. A meeting notice was published in the newspaper and on the district website on November 25th, 2024. In addition, the notice of the meeting was posted at the municipal building, in the schools, and a copy of the notice filed with the township clerk and transmitted to other newspapers. The Daily Record, Star Ledger, Parsippany Focus, Tap into Parsippany Patch in the district website. This regular public board meeting is being video recorded as per bylaw 0168. The recordings of these meetings will be available on our district website and on our Video on the Go YouTube channel. We ask that you please refrain from using student or staff names in your statement. Professionalism is expected at all times. When we have the roll call, please.
Mrs. Abraham? Here. Mr. Barrios?
He's absent and excused. He's conflicted from this discussion.
Okay. Mrs. Cogan? Here. Mrs. Mayer?
Here.
Mr. Rea?
Here.
Mrs. Chappelle?
Here.
Dr. Wright?
Here.
Mrs. Golder? Absent. Mr. Chapa?
Here. May we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, first I want to thank everybody for coming to our special meeting. Don't make me censure you two.
Sorry.
So, as I said in the memo that I sent out a week or so ago, and thanks Joni for crafting a good chunk of that, we do have some challenges ahead of us over the next several months, and a big challenge to overcome and to have a process in place is to recruit and hire a new outstanding superintendent. And I didn't want to wait until the reorganization. I just thought, waiting those 6 weeks and just doing nothing is time we don't have. So the purpose of this meeting is really to do a couple of things. One, to talk about a strategy for a replacement for the superintendent, to try to get consensus on that, and depending on which way the board wants to go, then taking actions probably after this meeting to kind of finalize that direction. So the two choices that we have in front of us are hiring a search consultant, which we have done in the past, or having the board, with the administration, internally source a candidate. There's pros and cons to both. I've asked Dr. Sutter and Mr. Ricker to talk a little bit about that because we have had some discussions about the process if we did this internally. The person who we hired to do our last strategic plan was also the search consultant that placed Dr. Sargent with us several years ago. So we have experience with search consultants. The cost for those consultants is probably in the $40,000 or so range, or somewhere in there. So there's a cost to it. They don't do their recruiting for free. Some of the pros is they can coordinate the process for us, so we have a central point of contact that can place the ad, solicit for resumes, pre-screen resumes, send them to us for review, or we can ask for all the resumes to come in. I think in the last process there was meetings that were scheduled where community members can be involved, meetings where staff can come and talk about what they're looking for a superintendent. A lot of time involved with that process, and again, the board needs to determine whether there's value in that. After all, we are the employer of the superintendent, and we're elected to, along with statute, because it does say quite specifically the qualification of the superintendent, but they are our employee, and we're elected to be the voice of the people in the selection process. So I'm not sure. Again, this is a board decision on directionally what we want to do. If it were an internal search, which both Dr. Sutter and Mr. Ricker have said they feel confident in being able to secure qualified candidates that are hireable by doing this internally, but maybe they can talk to what an internal search process might look like.
Yeah, I think like Mr. Chaffo said, there are pros and cons. I think depending upon what you want as a board, if you want somebody here by July 1st, I think that setting a timeline, which I think the board and our administrators can do, would be beneficial. If you feel as though you want to go with a search firm, I think you could talk to them about expediting the timeline, but you're going to have to go out for bid. You're going to, so your timeline kind of goes down a little bit there. So I think, you have the skill set as a board. I think that you have the wherewithal as a board. I think that you know what you want in a superintendent, and I think that you can screen resumes. And I also think that saving $40,000 is something that we really need to look at. I mean, that's what I think. That's my opinion, that's my recommendation.
Mr. Ricker, what do you have to say?
I agree with Dr. Sutter. I agree with Dr. Sutter. I think we could do this internally. I think the board that's currently here has been through this, and some of you have been through this already. I think we have some questions that are out there that we could put together pretty easily. And this is a really big, well-performing district that I think people will be attracted to. So I don't think it will be much of a stretch to get applicants. I think then it becomes our job to screen them, filter them, and then ultimately select a candidate. That's going to be up to you guys to do that. But I think as far as going out, and one of the big reasons to use one of those firms is to solicit applications, and I feel pretty comfortable that we will get lots of them. I think the number, not to make a correction to you guys, but I think the last time it was around 15,000. So it may not be up to 40, but it'll be over 15.
Right.
So.
Okay, and thanks, Joni, for providing the number. That was, how many years ago was that?
It was for Judy.
Is that right?
About
That
5
was
years ago.
5 years ago? Okay. Thanks.
Can
Yeah, please, Jack.
is it usually like a percentage of salary, a fee for a search firm, or?
No.
Could be all different.
Really?
It kind of depends on what you want them to do.
Yes.
So,
Al, so you participated in a couple of these, right? So-
yes, and I just took a class on this at the last workshop. School boards also does this, and they have different scales, like you said, of what you want them to help you with. And I don't believe theirs got up to $40,000, even if you picked like all the bells and
The
whistles.
Cadillac plan.
And they, obviously they have a vested interest because they want you to use their firm, but they highly suggested you do not try to do it in-house. It is not something that any district employee should be involved in, and which leaves everything on the Board of Education itself. So, yes, we have all done this before, but it was a very long and involved process. I think the search consultants also help get the community involved, and I think this may not be a time where we want to exclude the community in the entire process. I also went on today to see the people who are, the other districts who are looking, and there are some around here. Wayne is right in there. So, this is a competitive field, and anybody who wants a superintendent by July 1st is asking everybody to have their applications in by January 8th. So there really is not a good timeline for this for us, even if we try to do it ourselves, to try to get it all done by July 1st, because anybody who's looking for a job for July 1st has already put their applications in to the districts that have their openings. So, I think we really need to think this through. I don't think we want to rush into anything and just, I don't know. I do not want to rush this, having been through this 5 times before.
So on the community involvement piece, I was conflicted when Dr. Sargent was hired, so I wasn't part of that search. How well attended were these community meetings? Did we get anything out of it that influenced our decision on a selection? Just how effective was that part of it?
I think there were different, sorry, Judy, there were different avenues. She sent out surveys that were actually very well responded to. And then she summarized it all, so we didn't go through all the surveys, and she held quite a few different forums. I know the staff one was very well attended.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Judy, you want to?
No, I was just going to say.
Can you use your microphone?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what she did. And then last night, some of us were on that New Jersey School Boards thing, and they were talking about, superintendent searches. And it was interesting, they were saying that, survey for parents in the community, which is what she did, a timeline on our website to be totally transparent, how many applicants and stuff. So I don't know that, we could get that all together so quickly. I mean, I have faith in Dr. Sutter and Mr. Ricker, but I think it's a very wide process. And there are other districts that are, like you said, some have already put applications in, and I think, it's a tough time now to be starting this.
Michelle?
And also, as a reminder, you guys have day jobs, right? And your day jobs are very full. And so I know that while you would give it a valiant effort and do a fantastic job, you already have a very heavy workload, which I wouldn't want to, take away from.
Cheadle?
Thanks. I haven't been through this before, so I'm sorry. Can you hear me? I was saying I haven't been through, except this past couple of years with Dr. Sutter, but question for the consultant. Is it a full-service consultancy, or do they do like an a la carte kind of thing?
It depends on who you use, but yeah, you
Okay.
can say, we only want you to gather information and hand it to us, and then we'll do the rest. Or you could say,
You could pick
I
and
want you to
choose.
gather everything, I want you to sort it, I want you to summarize it, I want you to go through the resumes and only give me the top 10 based on, what we've selected are our criteria. I want you to set up the interviews.
And so
So,
with Dr. Sargent's, was that a full service, is what I'm trying to say?
No,
I don't think we,
not really. One of the things with Judy was she worked very closely with me, and I did a lot of the legwork, the printing for the Board of Ed. I was her contact. We got everything out to the board, but she was responsible for all the community surveys. She did all the Googles. The stack was about that high of what she got back. She went through it all, put it all into cohesion. So that's why some of the other ones that came in that time were higher, 25, 30,000, because they were doing everything. She was very good with us, said, okay, I'll do this, you do that, and that was her price.
Okay, can I? have
Yeah,
a couple?
please, Cheadle.
Have we reached out to any, I guess, previous superintendents for advice, or? I'm sorry.
I can't hear you.
I was saying, there we go. Have we reached out to any previous superintendents for advice on doing this again? No, okay. Is there a way to have an interim superintendent if we can't get it done by July 1st?
Yes.
there's interim and acting, so there's two different choices.
And that's it for now. Thank you.
Yeah, Wendy?
Could, can I get, what would the timeline on bidding this, and like, how do we, if we don't know what we're asking, if we're thinking like à la carte, how do you structure that request?
We would actually, with the board's approval, we'd go through an RFP that Joni's put together today and answer some questions that would allow them to then send out an RFP.
All right, and then my second, what's the difference between interim and acting?
Acting is somebody that is already in your district having a job that you're now putting in for that. Interims generally are individuals that you're bringing either back in or from the outside. For some, the intent is basically the same. ECS considers it differently, but those are differences.
So are we thinking about using a consultant? I'm getting that that's the consensus, that we want to go with a consultant. Probably yes. Yeah? Do we want to use a consultant? Is that generally the feeling?
I mean, I thought she did a really good job
Well, it may not be her again.
Right, but I'm saying, when you get it, if it was her, just throwing it out there, I thought she did a good job. She knows Parsippany. She knows the kind of district we are. So I thought, being that, she would be a good choice to kind of interview, but to get another consultant that, starting fresh here,
We would have to go out with an RFP. We
Yeah.
couldn't just hire
yeah.
her.
I would be interested in hearing other consultants,
Right.
but the first firm we used was not a good fit.
Right.
So there are definitely consultants out there that we
Right.
do not want to use. So I think we should I think we should go out for RFP, see who puts their thing in, maybe interview if there's enough. But I don't want to tie ourselves to having to use one, because some of them are not good, and I do not want to get stuck using one that will not meet our needs.
Do we still have,
And the last time we had 3, and we interviewed all
well, that's
3.
what I was going to ask. Do we still have the list that we
We
looked
got
at?
quite a few people just
No, no, no.
just emailed us that they're consultants and we're ready to help you.
No,
So I
but
think
from
there's
our
gonna-
last round, when we
Yes.
did Dr.
Yes, we
Sargent,
do.
if we have the list of
Yes, we do.
consultants that we kind of.
Oh, to interview the consultants?
Right.
Yeah.
But we still have to put it out on new.
No, I get that, but just to
But
look
we
at
do have the
those,
list.
yeah.
Do we have a lessons learned from the last time, or the last few times we've gone through this? So to, Allison's point, are there things that we need to keep in mind? I know we're very fortunate that we have a number of people who have gone through this process for us, but it would be good for all of us to just kind of kick the tires as we're reviewing possible candidates. I mean, for the actual people to perform the search, as well as actual superintendent candidates.
I'm going to defer to you two. I haven't been involved in the superintendent search in the better part of 10
We don't
years.
have anything written, but I think
Yeah.
between those of us who have done this for several times, yes, I think we could come up with a good list of, let's not do this again, or let's make sure to pay attention to
Criteria
that.
or some things, some good things that would make a consultant attractive
Yeah.
would be
How-
helpful.
How long did it take from beginning to end with Dr. Sargent?
It was about 6 months.
You know what might be interesting, if we could contact another district that did use a consultant and ask them what kind of groundwork, what kind of questions did they propose to kind of choose their consultant? Not that we're going to, but just to get an idea of what they thought was important.
Like Wayne, maybe?
What?
Like Wayne?
They're in the process right
They're in the
they're
process
just-
right now,
I
but
think they're
how
just in the
far
same-
ahead are they? No?
now. They're
Okay.
like just there.
John, did you want to say something?
No, I was just,
Oh, just, okay.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll go with the consultant route. Again, we have to do an RFP. So,
Can I just,
Oh, there's our-
Kate, that doesn't bind us to accepting one of these, right?
It does not. And I would just add that if you go out for an RFP, the technical specs, which is traditionally what your board business administrator comes up with, are really kind of what you guys are looking for overall for the search firm, but also potentially for the superintendents. Because as soon as you say that you're going to go out and people think that they're going to put in, they're going to be contacting their contacts. And so if you're going to say, we want somebody who's only had experience with districts with 5,000 people, that's going to limit your pool, but that's who they'd be contacting. So I think working through that a little bit would be helpful. And I do think we had a list of questions for the consultants the last time
Oh, yeah.
that are somewhere.
We did.
That'd be great.
Joni, do you have any records of all of the work that was done when we picked our consultant, like?
Yes, and
Like-
all the interviews, we had all the interviews, what they submitted. We had-
Okay, what we asked and all? Okay, that would be a nice kind of place to help us kind of look what we did in the past, and then because we've done it, see how it would work out.
yeah, Joni, I think, has very good records of the past processes that we can use. All right.
Sorry, I
yeah,
just one more
please,
question.
Michelle, yeah.
So Joni, I mean, obviously, you said before that you were very heavily involved in working with the consultant to execute this. Do you have a preference?
I can do it either way. I have all my records, I can do it either way.
She can do anything.
I know. I just don't want to put too much burden on her, so it's.
All right, so all in favor of using a consultant for the search? Maybe show of hands. One, two,
Favor of going
three.
out for RFP.
All right, well-
I'm in
Yeah.
favor of. I'm not in
So say that again?
I'm in favor of going out to RFP to hear from consultants.
Right.
I am not in favor of saying we are going to hire a consultant.
All in favor of going out for an RFP to interview search consultants for the superintendent search?
Yes.
Okay, okay, so that's unanimous, okay, great. So we can do this in two ways. My preference is to name an ad hoc committee to work with the administration on the RFP to get it, technically sound, and then to send it out. So I think we need to be a little bit nimble. Again, I'm concerned about time. I know quality is important; it's our paramount issue, but I don't want to belabor it too long. And I think a nimble ad hoc committee would be good. I'd like to, just coincidentally, the three people sitting together there, Allison, Judy, and Jack, to serve on this ad hoc committee. You were the first three to respond to the request. Wendy, I know you also did. I want to keep the fourth spot open in case after the reorg, new board leadership wants to do something different, or the president wants to be part of the ad hoc committee, but I don't want to fill it up with four people at this point. So does that sound okay? Okay, good. So we'll vest with the ad hoc committee the review of the RFP to make selections on behalf of the board on the things we need to choose, and then it can be sent out. And Robin will oversee that process. Okay. You're good?
Yeah.
And you say we have a resolution to read in?
Yeah, we can do it when you do the
Yep.
superintendent's bulletin.
I don't think there is no superintendent.
Nope.
Yes,
Don't we
there
have
is
this,
one.
we have one?
We have
the
one item.
Hibbs.
Oh, the Hibbs, yeah. Sorry. Okay, so moving along. We're up to Superintendent's Bulletin number 8. Oop, number 8. We have Superintendent's Bulletin number 8, item 1. This is our Hibbs. Be it resolved, the Board of Education affirms a harassment, intimidation, and bullying report for the December 5th, 2024 meeting. And we have a resolution, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorize the issuance of an RFP to solicit proposals from executive search firms to assist the Board of Education in its search for its new superintendent. Any discussion on that? Okay, we are at the hearing of the public. At this time, if there's anyone who would like to address the board, please come up, sign your name and address in the book at the lectern, and state your name for the record. Please address the chair. Each person will have 3 minutes to speak to the board. It would be helpful if you would like to address the board to please come up now, sign the book so you are ready when the first speaker is finished. As a reminder, we are video recording this meeting. If you are a student who wishes to speak, we ask that you not provide your home address, but rather give only the name of the municipality in which you live. If you are a parent wishing to discuss a specific matter pertaining to your child during this portion of the meeting, you may request that the board temporarily suspend the video recording. Alternatively, please consider speaking privately about the matter to the superintendent. After the meeting, speakers should refrain from using specific student or staff names in their comments and refer to Bylaw 168 for further information regarding the videotaping of our meetings. Council Vice President Neglia, good to see you this evening.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Board, and Mr. Chaffo, President Chaffo. I'm here with a request from the PAL, Nick Brazzino. He's the new interim director there, and he's got a lot of good things he wants to do at the PAL. And he asked me if I could ask the board, you, Mr. Chaffo, President, if possible, would there be any art classes, maybe in the middle or high school that would be like to do maybe a project, paint murals on the wall at the PAL. He has a couple of walls he wants to do some murals on, and I told him that'd be a great idea, and I happen to be coming here tonight, so I'll put in his request if you're interested. He did ask me to give you his personal phone, which I won't do in public session. I'll write it down and give it to someone if you're interested. And just let me know so I can let him know. And I think it's a great idea if you're interested. Nice project for an art class maybe. But he asked me for that request, so I thought I'd come in and request on his behalf.
Thank you, Frank. Yeah, sure enough.
Thank you. And also wish you all a happy holiday season.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and have a great season with your families and enjoy them. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Appreciate that. Anyone else wish to address the board? Okay, we're going to close the public session. Dr. Sutter, you care to comment on that, or would you like to speak to Mr. Neglia perhaps privately to discuss?
Mr. Neglia, if you just send an email to the superintendent's email address with the request, I'll forward it to the proper parties and see if they would like to, get involved in that. Okay.
Or Councilman Neglia, if you would like to have the new interim director send Dr. Sutter that email, that's fine too, of course.
Either works.
Okay.
And again, and then we'll forward it to our art department. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. Okay, roll call vote. May I have a motion on Superintendent's Bulletin number 8, item number 1, and the resolution? Sheathel, second? Okay, Wendy. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Abraham?
Yes.
Mrs. Cogan?
Yes.
Mrs. Mayer?
Yes.
Mr. Rea?
Yes.
Mrs. Chappelle?
Yes.
Dr. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Chapa?
Yes. Thanks again, everyone, for coming to the special meeting, and we'll see everybody on December 19th.
Yep.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
What's that?
Thank you.
Who's?
Motion to close.
Oh, sorry. Motion to close, Michelle, seconded by Jack. All in favor? Okay, aye.